The White Paper Revolution, also known as the White Paper Movement, began on November 25, 2022. From schools to the streets, students and people protested against the Chinese Communist Party's unreasonable epidemic prevention measures. The movement has achieved initial success, forcing officials to adjust their prevention and control policies. Now among our masses, there are anti-Chinese foreign forces that surround us. We're all Chinese. May I ask, are the foreign forces you are referring to Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels? Down with the Chinese Communist Party. Down with Xi Jinping. Freedom, freedom, freedom. According to statistics by China's official media, after the White Paper Movement, 5 metropolises, including Chengdu, Guangzhou, Tianjin, Beijing, and Chongqing, have coincidentally adjusted their epidemic prevention policies, resulting in less difficulty in travel for an estimated 100 million people. For example, Guangzhou's Green Health Code now has a broader range of access. One can access the emergency services of medical institutions with a green code. A nucleic acid test is no longer needed. In Sichuan province, people in the capital city of Chengdu no longer need to present the nucleic acid test certificate to access the subway and the neighborhood. In Chongqing, a city under the direct jurisdiction of the central government, one only needs a green code to access the neighborhood, the courtyard, and public transportation. Shenzhen also followed up by announcing that residents don't need nucleic acid testing when accessing the subway and outdoor scenic attractions. Beijing's neighbor, the metropolis of Tianjin, also eliminated the need for 72-hour nucleic acid test certificates for subway rides. Video obtained by Reuters on December 3rd showed a COVID testing booth being removed in Beijing as the country's easing of virus curbs gathered pace. Many testing booths in Beijing have also been shut, as the city stops demanding negative test results as a condition to enter places such as supermarkets and prepares to do so for subways from December 5th. Many other venues, including offices, still require testing. The city of Urumqi in Xinjiang sparked a nationwide white paper revolution after netizens staged a massive protest on November 24th, when a fire tragically broke out due to preventive measures, causing multiple deaths. The next day, Urumqi officials announced the end of a 100-day-long lockdown. In Wuhan, the origin of the pandemic, the city has been under severe control measures for 3 years. In some neighborhoods, people took action to remove the blockade before officials announced the lifting of the restrictions. Look at this neighborhood. People push aside barricades protesting China's strict COVID controls. Such actions are also taking place in many cities in China. The Communist Party's media has also begun to send signals and report a new understanding of the Omicron virus. For example, the People's Daily, the highest-ranking official media outlet, recently reported the views of medical experts, including a director of the State Key Laboratory of Virology at Wuhan University, who said that experimental results showed that the pathogenicity and virulence of the Omicron mutant strain had been significantly reduced compared to the original strain of the virus. He said this suggests that we don't need to panic too much about Omicron. For the general population, under the protection of the vaccine, the new coronavirus has become much less dangerous to humans. This type of article has been widely shared on various Chinese portal websites. It seems that overnight, the Chinese public has gained a new understanding of the virus.
It's like I mentioned before, the government's finally recognized or realized that people or those voices from people, so they had to do something. Otherwise, maybe, I don't know, maybe the product is going to be upgrades and all the cities, I mean, all over China are going to protest again, and the people are going to maybe fight it for that.
I think a progressive reopening is a right move because now everyone knows the Omicron variant is very infectious, but the mortality is low. So, a timely adjustment of the epidemic prevention policy is very appropriate.
那么实际上，我周围的朋友们就说，他们觉得就是说。
My friends all think that after reopening, we will still need to have some daily protection and stock up on some medicines at home, so that if someone has symptoms, they won't need to go to the hospital. They will only need to quarantine themselves at home voluntarily, medicate themselves, and leave the need for hospital treatments to those who are seriously ill or the children and the elderly. Actually, everyone has accepted it already. Nobody feels a sense of panic about this anymore.
而且我觉得大家并没有恐慌。
No need to worry. This virus will always exist. You should believe in science or medicine, and sooner or later, you will defeat the virus. The other thing is that people and viruses should learn to coexist. I think people are happy to see the policy being eased because it reduces the impact on people's lives. I think the dynamic zero-COVID policy may not be realistic, because after all, the whole world is opened up now. I think it would be very difficult for China to stay in lockdown all the time. Sooner or later, you will need to interact with others. So I think it's still necessary to ease the curbs appropriately. It should be noted that the compromises and concessions made by the Chinese government at this time are directly related to the attitude of Communist Party leader Xi Jinping. On December 1st, EU Council President Charles Michel, who was in Beijing for a visit, held a 3-hour meeting with Xi. The South China Morning Post, CNN, and other media reported that Michel told Xi that peaceful assembly is a fundamental right, one that is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and national institutions. Xi told Michel that the protests occurred because people were frustrated with the strict government zero-COVID policy after a 3-year epidemic, and that the protests were led by students or teenagers in universities. Xi added that the virus currently prevalent in China is mainly Omicron, which is less deadly than the previously prevalent Delta virus. EU officials believe this is a sign that Xi is about to ease control measures. Xi's remarks show that he is aware of the white paper revolution that is taking place at home and overseas. This is the first time he has publicly expressed his views on the white paper revolution. This likely means that after the relaxation of the epidemic control policy in the cities mentioned before, similar relaxations will soon be seen in other provinces and cities. China's overall epidemic control policy will change significantly. Despite the CCP's reluctance and dismissal of the people's will, the CCP has been forced to live with the virus, following the widespread outbreak of the white paper movement in China. Previously, the Communist Party refused to acknowledge the existence of the protests publicly. At an earlier press conference, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman, faced with questions from Reuters about the protests, responded, "What you said is not consistent with the facts." What you mentioned does not reflect what actually happened. China has been following the dynamic zero-COVID policy and has been making adjustments based on the reality on the ground. And as we speak, China is following the 9th version of the pandemic protocols and 20 anti-COVID measures. We believe that with the leadership of the Communist Party of China and the cooperation of the Chinese people, our fight against COVID-19 will be successful. A Chinese columnist at the New York Times wrote, "As several people have told me that the end wouldn't have come so soon without the courageous protesters in Zhengzhou, Urumqi, Shanghai, Beijing, Nanjing, Chengdu, Guangzhou, and many other places. That's a win, period." We agree with her point of view. As long as the people have no fear and dare to fight peacefully against the CCP, this Red Party will be afraid. Although it has a powerful army, armed police, and public security, and appears to be strong, in reality, the CCP is scared at heart. From originally being cooperative to now collectively acting to openly say no, the Chinese people have started to participate as an active player and explore options to manage the epidemic scientifically and legally. We believe this is something that the authorities haven't foreseen. Local governments don't have a plan or response to this, so different approaches have been observed. Some local governments adopted a persuasive approach to engage in dialogue and adjust epidemic prevention measures to calm public anger, while others were hostile and took action to suppress the protests. It can be predicted that in the near future, based on the habit of the CCP system, after the protests, large numbers of members from both Homeland Security and the Domestic Security Protection Bureau will be searching for individuals who initiated the slogans in the protest. They are likely to be arrested in secret. Already, sources indicate that police are censoring social media accounts and investigating protesters. At some universities, students are questioned if they have been to the protest areas. They are required to provide written statements. In several places, police are checking people's cell phones, demanding they delete protest videos, oversee social media platforms, and VPN apps that help them bypass China's firewall. Now this practice, if the authorities fail to manage it properly, may well turn into a new wave of protest or a new trigger for public outcry. At present, the white paper revolution hasn't stopped. This wave of protests have swept and spread overseas, with Chinese and international students in the UK, France, the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, etc., taking to the streets or on campuses to revolt against the tyranny of the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP. On November 29th, Anonymous, the world's largest hacktivist group, tweeted, "We stand with Chinese citizens against the communist regime," in solidarity with the White Paper movement. It also made 5 demands, like people in Hong Kong used to when fighting for freedom. In the afternoon of December 1st, the group announced a DDoS, denial of service attack, on CCP government websites, and published several online hacked images and photos in a row, claiming that they had hacked into CCP government websites, paralyzed some of them, and taken control of some CCP security monitors. They also released the ID card of a Shanghai state security chief and a list of Shanghai police officers. On November 29th, a legal advisory group of nearly 30 human rights lawyers from mainland China issued an announcement that it would provide free legal assistance to all victims and families. The announcement reads, "Those residents who have encountered verbal abuse, beatings, searches, and arrests by local administrators or police officers as a result of normal travel or peaceful expression of their demands are entitled to defend their rights and seek compensation from the state through complaints, administrative reviews, and administrative lawsuits. Those who have been disciplined by the school for peacefully expressing their demands can also seek reversal of the disciplinary action and reinstatement of their academic status, etc., through complaints or administrative litigation." On the same day, the partner of this legal advisory group tweeted a list of Chinese human rights lawyers and their contact information. It can be said that the White Paper Revolution is a movement of enlightenment. Many Chinese people at home and abroad began to wake up and think through this nationwide and global protest. Where is the official media who are supposed to uphold justice? Where is it? Where is it?
People's News Agency. What news have you reported? Please look at our people. Please listen to our people's voices.
No need to beg them.
Without the people, how can you exist? What are you without the support of the people? It's a hammer. So we don't want nuclear acid tests. We want freedom.
No nucleic acid tests. Yes to freedom. No nucleic acid tests. Yes to freedom. No nucleic acid tests. Yes to freedom. No nucleic acid tests. Yes to freedom.
I now realize why other countries say China doesn't have human rights. And I only realized that at this time in 2022. Do we really have human rights? Do we really have them? No, we don't. Our great diplomats, Auntie Hua Chunying and Uncle Zhao Lijian, you swear abroad that the Chinese people are very happy. So please look, are we happy now? We can't even afford food now. Not happy. It's ironic that our fellow Chinese people are living in misery. Fighting for our children.
Fighting for ourselves. Fighting for China.
In a broader sense, we are all Chinese. For the betterment of China, we must persevere to the end this time. The people must be united.
Fight for our tomorrow, for a free China.
Fight for ourselves, not for others. We're Chinese citizens. We're no foreign power. You don't have to join us, but you can't help them, CCP.
Right. We are talking to you people who wear green masks.
Give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death.
As we have seen, the white paper revolution is like an accidental wildfire that has awakened the Chinese. This awakening means that it has ignited a signal of the end of communist rule, and no forces can put it out. In another striking sign, party media reported that former party leader Jiang, 96, died in Shanghai on November 30th of leukemia and multiple organ failure. The rumor circulating online is that Jiang died 17 days ago on November 13th rather than the 30th. A lot of information backs it up. For example, on November 13th, 2022, an internal notice from Baidu, the equivalent of Google in China, had been spread on social media in and outside of China that called for preparations to be made for all apps to turn gray. At the time, netizens had guessed that a major figure must have died, and the speculation mostly pointed to Jiang Zemin. After the CCP announced the death of Jiang Zemin, China's national websites turned gray overnight, which was consistent with what was previously circulated online. The white paper revolution, which began spreading on a large scale on November 25th, may have made the CCP very anxious, so the news that Jiang Zemin was de facto dead was made public. It distracts the public at home and abroad, as well as the international media, from the mass protests. As we have described in previous episodes, the root cause of the chaos and public anger in Chinese society today is related to the time bomb planted during the reign of Jiang. Like the game of passing the parcel, by the time she is in power, the CCP is at the point of a full-blown crisis. She has been in power for 10 years. He has been purging the Jiang faction from the party, the government, and the military in the name of anti-corruption. It's a fierce battle that can be described as a fight for survival. It wasn't until after the 20th Communist Party Congress in mid-October 2022 that Xi could be said to have truly taken control of the CCP. Xi Jinping officially took over full power from Jiang Zemin. At the same time, he has also taken over the full extent of the heinous crimes Jiang Zemin had committed and the full extent of the evils committed by the CCP. Now Xi Jinping, as the party leader, is at a crossroads, facing an eventual decision that can't be dodged. Should he be an enemy of the people and continue to defend the CCP to its last breath and eventually be buried with it? Or should he follow the will of the people in heaven, using his power to dismantle the CCP? Either way, big changes in China are about to unfold. Please stay tuned to this channel to see how history will move through this momentous stage.